Hey everyone, it's me, Ari Dossett, Colmer Sheet. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Thanks for being here. Please hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. If you wish to book a session with me on one-on-one consultation, please check the fees and the instruction description box below. Check my novels on Amazon, Barnes Nobles, wherever you can find them online to purchase them. Above all, I want you to pay close attention to this live stream, take notes, pray about it afterwards, and where this knowledge applies in your life, apply the knowledge to glorify the Heavenly Father. And before I go further, please donate the links below. Thank you very much. Before I continue now, how are you all doing today? Just let me know. How are you all doing today? God is good. Amen. It's 10 to 10:30 p.m. here in the Netherlands, or 20 to 30. Okay, Maria's good. That's great. Now, before I continue, let me teach you one thing as an anthropologist right over here. Whenever a scandal comes out in a community, look at who remains silent. This is something I'm teaching you right now, and applies to the cold case we are going to go into today. But as an anthropologist, I want to teach you the following, and it's something that can help you out in daily life. If ever a scandal breaks out somewhere, look at who remains silent. Okay, let me give an example. Let's say now it came out in a, let's say you have a small town. I'm not. Let's talk about a small place or a small town. Let's say you have a small town somewhere in the United States or in Russia or whatever. Anyway, you have a small town, maybe in Brazil, just a small town of around 30,000 people live there. There are a few schools there. There are a few churches, whatever. Let's say it came out now that the pastor of one of this church was molesting a lot of boys. Now, when that comes out, let's say now that 40% of that town goes to church. And let's say two-thirds of the people who go to church go to that one specific church. The other people who don't go to that church, at least they would think, oh my God, another pastor that can't keep his hands off the children, you know. The good thing is when this scandal comes out, it's going to make the town look bad. Because outside is going to associate that town with molesting children. So even people who tend to be a bit antisocial would be upset thinking, what the heck is this, y'all? And they would use that as an excuse on why they're antisocial. Even though it's not a good reason, but antisocial people always use excuses so they don't have to look at themselves. Because we are social creatures made by the Heavenly Father that way. So being antisocial is against our nature as human beings. But anyway, let's say now in this small town, this scandal comes out. Some pastor was molesting children. According to people, we're going to be shocked, thinking, really? Art's going to say, well, I told you so. The people that are shocked, kind of denying it, or the people that are saying, I told you so, those are not the ones you need to look at. It's the people that remain silent. Because that silence speaks volumes. What I mean, I'm explaining with another example. Let's say now it came out that, um, let's say now that a scandal came out that someone was wrongly convicted by a court of law. And the police investigation was such a mess, y'all. A big mess. And news reporters now are looking at the case and think, hold on a minute, how the heck could this even have gone to court? How the heck could any jury agree with this? That the individual is guilty. This comes out. You may expect some of the former jury members not to want to talk to the media because they don't want their current lives to be disrupted by this scandal coming out. That's understandable. But here's the thing, the people that should be speaking out are the families of the victims, because they thought justice was done, but no, it's not. Someone was wrongly convicted. Who should be speaking is also the relatives of the wrongly convicted individual. And others should be speaking are the locals who are around when the crime happened. They were the most affected by it. If one of those are silent, also, when the law enforcers that investigated the case at the time, if they're silent too, then you know it was a planned cover up. So what I'm saying is look at who remains silent when the scandal comes out. A stranger can remain silent because they think, okay, I don't know much about this case. But even strangers often, when the scandal is so shocking, even they will have a view of what the heck is this. Those that are nearby and remain silent, watch out with them. But okay, let's dive into the case of today. Let me remove this over there. I'm going to share the screen with you. And hold on. First, just one moment, y'all. Hold on. I want you to look at this. It's in Dutch, by the way, so I know a lot of you don't speak Dutch. But anyway, I just want you to look at the body language of the mother and the father of the missing woman. By the way, the mother passed away some years ago. By now, there's a clip from 2011. That's almost a year after the woman went missing. But okay, let me play it.
Proberen elke dag opnieuw te overleven. En alles te doen om dat Elke gevonden wordt. Of dat ze terugkomt. Maar het is heel moeilijk.
She was actually saying something, and I'm summarizing. She was saying that she's doing all she can to have strength to move on and hope that her daughter be found, but it's quite difficult.
Hebben jullie hoop op die nieuwe pisten?
Do you guys have any hope for the new development in the case? By the way, can you all hear the audio of the clip? So let me know in the live chat. Can you hear the audio of the clip, please? You should be able to hear it. But okay, let me continue over here.
We hebben altijd nog hoop.
We always have some hope.
Je wilt natuurlijk geen dood Elke.
Of course, you don't want a dead Elke. Elke is the name of the woman that went missing.
Maar zo verder leven, dat gaat ook niet.
But continue living like this, that won't work.
Niet weten wat er met Elke gebeurd is, waar ze is. Of ze leeft, of ze niet meer
Not knowing where Elke is, whether she's alive or not. And this is the father.
leeft. Dat is gewoon ondraaglijk. Je neemt al je krachten samen.
It's unbearable. Okay.
Om de dag door te komen. We hebben heel veel steun van vrienden en familie.
We have a lot of support from friends and family. Okay.
En van elkaar.
And from each other. Okay.
Het is gewoon ondraaglijk.
The reason. Okay, let me shut this down. Hold on, guys. The reason I showed you this first was because I may be wrong in this, because I'm not a trained body language expert, but when I look at the body language of the parents, it seems like, and I hope I'm wrong, that they have a clue of what might have happened to their daughter, or it could be they already know what happened to their daughter. Now, that's just speculation over here. That's again, we don't have all the facts, but the body language is a bit off. Also, maybe because it's just a short clip, but if your daughter is missing and you're stressed out because you don't know where she is, despite that your daughter is a grown woman in her 30s, she just disappeared like that, you want her to be found. you would expect something like, please, if you know anything about my daughter, please report it. Yes, there's a new lead in the case. We don't have false hope, but you want, I don't care. Any lead helps. I would expect more fire, more intensity. Now, it could be that some people process grief or loss in a different way, especially maybe because there's no certain whether she's dead or not, that it's a bit different, but I don't know. I can be totally wrong, but something's amiss here. How many of you agree with me? I'm going to play the clip one more time without interruption. One moment. Let me know what you think in the live chat, please.
Proberen elke dag opnieuw te overleven. En alles te doen om dat Elke gevonden wordt. Of dat ze terugkomt. Maar het is heel moeilijk.
Hebben jullie hoop op die nieuwe pisten?
We hebben altijd nog hoop. Je wilt natuurlijk geen dood Elke. Maar zo verder leven, dat gaat ook niet. Niet weten wat er met Elke gebeurd is, waar ze is. Of ze leeft, of ze niet meer leeft. Dat is gewoon ondraaglijk. Je neemt al je krachten samen om de dag door te komen. We hebben heel veel steun van vrienden en familie. En van elkaar.
All right. So, look, am I saying that the parents are involved? No, I'm not saying that at all. First of all, the mother passed away already. So the father now has to deal with not with the daughter being gone and now being a widower right now. So he has an extra heart right now. So I'm not putting anything on that man right now, absolutely not. As an outsider, however, I need to look at this case with fresh eyes. I can't just follow human sympathy, and because they are the parents of the woman that's gone for now, we know whether she's dead or not, just out of sympathy, assume that they're innocent or whatever. No. If I see something that's a bit off, I don't know exactly what goes on, but I will report when I know something is off. And that's what I just did over here. A lot of people, when it comes to cold cases, they tend to follow they want to be respectful, they want to be considerate, they don't want to look like jerks, all of that. So they just they kind of have this bias right when you look at the case. Me, I keep this bias out. Again, I'm not accusing anyone over here, especially not the parents now. It's just that the reaction is a bit off. But hey, I can be wrong over here. Now let's look at the case directly right now. By the way, I'm using Google. I've used the translator in my browser to translate this into English because a lot of these articles are in Dutch. Well, I know Dutch fluently, but many of you don't. And my live streams are in English, so that's why I need to review the content in English for you. Okay, now the translation works perfectly well, so I'm able to show them in English, but you won't find them in English online. They're in Dutch. Okay, and okay, let me share the screen again. One moment. And by the way, before I began this live stream, I, of course, did my research in this case, what's available out there. And there was a podcast also that I listened to in Dutch. There was a podcast from Belgium in which they discussed the case. And this is a podcast right over here, but again, it's in Dutch. They also speak Flemish accent. So, yeah, likely many of you listening to this, you won't understand a thing. But I listened to all the episodes. I processed it also internally. I looked into more things also. So, I also found a Reddit post where someone kind of summarized things up until now. And this podcast is a bit old also for now. But anyway, let's dive into it. And hold on, let me go to. Okay, this is from the Dutch police. Okay, the case happened in Belgium, the missing, but because it's so close to the Dutch border, um, in this case, because there was an assumption that she may be in the Netherlands, the Dutch police put this out. Okay, and this is the English version of the page. Okay, her name is, or was, we know whether she's dead or alive, Elke WEVERS. She would be 47 if she's still alive today. Okay, Elke left her home in Maaseik, Belgium, on December 9th, 2010, at about 7:30 in the morning. Since then, nothing has been heard from her. She has a normal, slim build and has long chestnut brown hair, worn in a ponytail. On the day of her disappearance, she wore a black three-quarter esprit or vero moda coat, a black knee-length skirt, and a black legging and a black handbag. So she's totally dressed in black then. Elke has beauty spots on her face and on her body and on her body, and she has a navel piercing. The fingertip on her left forefinger is missing. I thought that's a bit weird. So this part of her hand is missing. It's because of an accident that she lost a part of her body. Was it due to fireworks? Did she lose her own hand? Was it? What was it? But anyway, I couldn't figure that out. But this was a bit odd. But okay, let's read over here. Again, this how much she weighed at the time, 170 centimeters. There's a decent length for women here in this part of the world. Brown hair, brown eye color, female. There's a better image of her. There's not much information over here. And okay, so let's move further. There's another better image over here. You can see her more clearly. And okay, let me just read some of these articles with you. I'm not going to read all of it. Again, this is a translation in English. You won't find the English out there. Let's read. Top lawyer Jeff Maassen on 10 years of the disappearance of Elke WEVERS. Only a profiler can find her. This is an article from the 9th December 2020, so it's a bit an old article, but let's read. Today is exactly 10 years ago that Elke WEVERS disappeared from Neeruteren. Lawyer Jeff Maassen is assisting her parents and wants to breathe new life into the investigation. He wants to engage profilers who are also provided a new perspective in the Ronald Janssen case. That's another case. Okay. 10 years ago, Elke WEVERS sent a text message to her employer telling her that she would not come to work that morning. Since then, WEVERS has been missing and it's still not clear what exactly happened that day. It's a very difficult day for us, of course, mainly for the parents, but also for me, says lawyer Jeff Maassen. A lot has happened in those 10 years, but I'm used to that by now. Just like with the case of the gang of Nivelles, for example, you're working on this every day. Tips keep coming in. Some of them come from people who fantasize, but also some who are useful. Often those people say that I'm not allowed to pass on the information to the investigating judge because of professional secrecy. That's frustrating. The investigation into the disappearance of Elke WEVERS is currently at a complete standstill, and that is logical according to Maassen. If you want to solve a murder, it has to be done in the first days or weeks after the fact. If that fails, you need chance to hit the perpetrator, especially after 10 years. People's memory weakens, so little research has been conducted in recent years, he says. We think there's still one possible trace that has not been sufficiently investigated. Maassen and the parents of Elke WEVERS think they know who is responsible for her disappearance, but according to the lawyer, that route was never taken in the investigation. What? Hold on. First of all, if the parents suspect someone within those 10 years, wouldn't it be logical that the police would go into that? Now, likely they've done it by now because this article is an old article, but It's a bit odd over here. Okay, let's continue reading. We've been looking for a solution in all directions, and we think there is still one possible lead that has not been sufficiently investigated. Unless the perpetrator happens to slip up, there is only one way to find a solution: appoint a good profiler. In the Ronald Janssen case, I defended Annick van Uitsel's parents. There, the investigation judge used two profilers trained by the FBI. They started again from scratch and found things that no one had thought of and helped the file move forward to a large extent. That should be done now, and the same people should be appointed. When interrogations take place or someone is arrested, there is a greater chance that the perpetrator will also confess. Okay. Now let's. There's another article I'm going to read. This is an article from the 14th of March 2021. Mother missing Elke WEVERS loses battle against esophageal cancer at the age of 66. So the mother, here you can see her wearing at the protest. And let me translate to you what's written over here. In Dutch written, Elke is vermoord. Ze willen het niet oplossen. Translate English, it means Elke is murdered. They don't want to solve it. Now behind, I can't read everything, but it says vermoord. Ze willen ons niet helpen. Vermoord means murdered in Dutch. Ze willen ons niet helpen means they don't want to help us. And there are quite some people walking there with this protest over here. So as you can see, there was public support to get this solved. Okay. Oh, by the way, it changed back into Dutch, but okay, we don't have to read any further. This from 2016 is much older. Okay, but I'm going to read this anyway. You're going to understand soon why. Okay, father of missing Elke WEVERS appeals to Limburgers. Now, for those who don't know, as Red explained in the previous live stream, this is the Netherlands over here. This Belgium, which separated from the Netherlands in 1839. And at the time, you had the Duchy of Limburg, which was a constituent of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. In 1839, it was split into. So today you have the Dutch province of Limburg. And in Belgium, you also have a province called Limburg. Okay, so when you talk about Limburg, you can either mean the Dutch province of Limburg or the Belgian province of Limburg. But everyone there's got Limburgers. Okay, and the place where she disappeared was right over here in Neeruteren. Is this place over here? And as you can see, it's close to the Meuse River, which is the border between Belgium and the Netherlands, as you can see over here. All right, now let's go and read further. The father of the okay, let me make this bigger. The father of the missing Elke WEVERS from Neeruteren, Belgium, hopes that Limburg witnesses can help him in the search for his daughter. The instructor René WEVERS makes the appeal to the Limburgers on Friday in the Telegraaf. That's the Telegraaf is a newspaper. Maaseik. By the way, the town Neeruteren is located in the municipality Maaseik. And you also have the town itself called Maaseik over here, but all of this is one municipality. It's kind of a big one over here, as you can see, with a lot of farms and all that. But anyway, you have the city Maaseik, and you also have the municipality Maaseik over here, just so you know. My daughter went to school in Maaseik and has many classmates from the Netherlands. Again, look at this. Neeruteren, Maaseik, the town itself. And this, look at how close it is to the Netherlands. You have a bridge here, crossing right into the Netherlands. So she went to school there. Okay, let's read further. She also had a girlfriend who lives just across the border in South Limburg. So that's in the south of the Netherlands over there. States WEVERS. Our daughter has visited there before. So it is quite possible that there are people there who know more about the disappearance. Elke WEVERS, 32, disappeared without a trace on December 9, 2010. A major search followed. 5 brigades from Maaseick, Bree, and Maasmechelen. Okay. Maasmechelen means Mechelen at the Moos River is a town that's here below, Maasmechelen. By the way, it's close to that forest where the skull was found in a Dutch cold case, and I did a live stream about that, about Angelique Hendricks. I even visited the place with a bicycle. I did a live stream over there for those that remember. It's Maasmechelen of here, Mechelen at the Meus, I mean. So let's continue. Yeah. Search in the Zuid-Willemsvaart. Zuid-Willemsvaart, that's a canal that was dug when both Belgium and the Netherlands were still one country, and it's a canal that goes right through this location. And so they looked for her, but they didn't find anything. Helicopters flew out, radar boats went into the canal, but no trace of the Belgian was found. In 2012, a diving team went looking in the gravel lake of the Bergeren Nature Reserve in Rotem and Neenroeteren. They didn't yield anything either. Ranger detectives in Lapland questioned a former neighbor boy, but that did not lead to a breakthrough in the case. A new search with a team of search and rescue dogs in October 2015 also yielded nothing. Although his daughter has been missing for more than 5 years, Renee Weavers does not give up the search. There must be people who know something. I'm 60 years old, so I don't have too long to look for, I suspect. But never give up the fight. In Belgium, we say it like this: I keep searching until I hand over my spoon. The most important news. Oh, okay. Now, the Dutch thing. Now, for those up until now, in this case, I'll show you the location. Let me turn it to this over here. I haven't revealed that much about the case because the woman had a partner. But is there anything you consider odd by now in the case? Let me know in the live chat. Is there anything that I haven't mentioned you consider odd by now? Let me know in the live chat. Is there anything up until now you consider odd over here? Just let me know. I'm going to mention more information soon, but up until now, is there anything that you consider that is quite odd? I'll wait for 1 minute before I continue. God is good. I'm going to read a Reddit post now, but I'm not going to read it from Reddit, because if I read it from Reddit, I see it on the screen, you will see what my Reddit account is. I'm using my Reddit account to do undercover research. So that's why I'm not showing it on Reddit itself, the website, but I copy paste it in Google Docs. And so I'm about to read it right now for you. Hold on, let me go back to the screen sharing. Okay, let me make the space a bit bigger, guys. Let me see how to do that. Okay, it worked. It's going to be a little bit of repetition, but we're going deeper into it. Elke disappeared on this day in 2010 from Neenroeteren, Belgium. Let me read. Elke has been missing since the 9th of December 2010. It was a freezing cold December morning in Neenroeteren. Elke, who worked as an executive secretary at the hospital in Maaseick, said goodbye to her boyfriend. She left her apartment and started to walk the 250 meters to a nearby intersection where a colleague would pick her up by car to drive to the hospital. Normally, she would always bike to the hospital, a ride of only 20 minutes. However, by the way, I didn't write this, just copy paste it from Reddit, so if there are any spelling errors, it's not mine. However, because of the weather conditions, she had agreed to ride along with her colleague, something she did more often when the weather was bad. So that's smart. I mean, to ride a bicycle when it's bad weather, that's not a good idea. You should avoid that. She was last seen at 7:29 a.m. on security footage of a convenience store. See images here. At that point, she was only a few meters off the intersection where she was about to be picked up. I will check the links later on for you guys to see over here. Importantly, I should remark that the colleague who was about to pick her up does not believe that the woman shown on secret footage is Elke. At 7:31 a.m., her colleague tries to call her to inform her that he will be somewhat later. Elke does not pick up. On 7:38 a.m., the colleague received a short text message that was sent from Elke's phone saying that she was feeling unwell and would return home. Based on the writing style of the text message, her parents do not believe that it was written by their daughter. Soon after having sent this message, her phone was turned off. She was never seen or heard of again. Okay, that's a bit more information. Hold on. So, okay, let me go back. So this was the intersection where she would have met the colleague. Just look at the neighborhood over here. I don't think much has changed in the past 15 years. Okay, this is the intersection where they would meet. And this is the CCTV footage. I would say allegedly right now. Okay. Where she was seen walking by. And that would have been somewhere in one of these shops over here, likely. Let me zoom out a little bit. Again, this intersection over here, right over there. And she would normally, hold on. Oh, there's the border with the Netherlands over there. So she would drive in a car with a colleague towards the hospital, but she was not seen from again. And there was a text message, but the parents don't think it was her. Okay? Now let's further. According to her parents, the camera footage shows something odd. The person who they believe to be Elke turned right at the intersection where she would normally always turn left. Whether this was because she was going to walk around the block and return home that way, while she could also simply have turned and walked back the same way as she had come, or for some other reason remains unknown. So let's look at that. Where was it again? My bad, guys. Let me go up. Okay, this intersection. This is CCTV footage. She turned, was it left? She turned right, where she normally turns left. Okay. If she was walking to the intersection, which is right over here, was right over here, why would she turn right to cross the road and go back? She could just turn around and head back home. Why? Why would she do that? Let me turn it around. Why cross the road, turn back? You can just walk back like that. So this is something odd. But now let's continue reading. Her boyfriend claims that Elke never returned home. Quite some time after she left for work, he too left for his work at a different location of the same hospital organization. In the afternoon, the colleague who was about to pick her up called her boyfriend to inform him that his girlfriend Elke was sick and had not gone to the hospital with him. Her boyfriend says that only when he returned home that evening and did not find her, he got worried. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, I'm an outsider, remember. Years after this happened, this is a cold case. I know back then smartphones were not as far advanced like now. Today, smartphones like small computers, but even back then, If the woman you're living with, your partner, has to go to work, if she doesn't feel well, she could basically call you, send you a text message, darling, I'm not going to work today, I'm going back home. She did. So you hear from a colleague that she went back home, she's sick. But the thing is, why didn't she tell you that herself? Or why don't you say, okay, let me call her? Elke, I heard you didn't go to work today. What's up? You feel sick? Why don't you tell me? So only when he got home and she wasn't there, he got worried. Okay, it could be he was just thinking, oh, whatever, she knows how to get home. Could be the case. No, nothing suspicious, but it's still a bit odd. I mean, if Al could have messaged the colleague, how come she's messaged the man she's living with at home? Who's more important to be informed, the colleague that was picking up to go to work or the man she's living with? Okay, let's read further. Okay, on 8:22 p.m. that evening, he called Elke's parents, who did not know where she was either. They subsequently called the police. Elke's family felt that the police didn't do enough in the early days of the investigation and started to investigate the case themselves. Oh boy. Her boyfriend asked the local shop for footage of the security cameras. It will be the last known video on which Elke can be seen. Divers of the fire department searched the canal near the place where she went missing. Hold on a minute. Her boyfriend asked the local shop for footage of security cameras? Huh? Should that not be the police's job? But okay. Sometime before disappearance, Elke mentioned to several family members that she had the feeling that she was being followed. Also, Elke for quite some time already had suspicions that her boyfriend was cheating on her. It's known that she searched her boyfriend's computer without his knowledge to find evidence for this. A few days prior to disappearance, Elke decided to leave work early and walk back from Maas Eyck to her apartment in near Nutteren, a walk of at least an hour. Okay, let's go over here and let's do the math over here. So you have Maas Eyck over here. I don't know which hospital it is. Let me see. Maas Eyck Hospital. Oh, there are two hospitals over there. Well, this one is labeled a hospital, so let's say it was this hospital. I can be wrong. Maybe it was this hospital over here, but let's say okay. So let's do measure distance. Nijruteren. Here's the intersection right over here. Now I don't know where she was living, but let's just go to the intersection alone. That is that's almost 5 kilometers. Okay, so okay, let me do this and go to directions. In directions, I put let me see. Let me put I'm just choosing a random location over there. Orient that place is nothing to do with the case, by the way. I'm just using it just for Google Maps. Okay, so that's close nearby. So okay, with a car, it would only take 6 minutes. With public transport, around 10 minutes. If you take a bicycle, 17 to 20 minutes. Walking is at least an hour and 11 minutes. And look at this. You have to pass by a large road with farms over there. And if it was the other house, if it was the other place over there, it would even be longer, but it's a long road over here. Okay, but okay, let's continue reading. Okay, a walk from at least an hour. The reasons for this are unknown, although it was suggested that she then too searched the computer. During the night before disappearance, there was also logged into the computer, and it is believed that was her also. It also suggests that she did not really feel unwell, but that she rather decided to return home on the day of her disappearance to once more check the computer. It was going to be replaced that day, and it's thought that she still wanted to have a look before it was gone. There were no signs that she was planning to just go away and start a new life elsewhere or commit suicide. She had a lot of things scheduled with her family, with who she had a strong bond. Okay, so she, well, if you follow what's written here, she was suspected she was being followed, and that her boyfriend was cheating on her, and she checked his computer multiple times. And that day, as written here, the computer will be replaced by a new computer, and she want to check the computer again. I mean, if you check the computer once to find evidence of your boyfriend cheating and you find none, why do you keep go and keep checking the computer then? Okay, maybe she was a bit upset, maybe she was a bit paranoid, I don't know. Maybe she found something else on a computer that she thought, okay, this is a bit weird. But the thing is, to console going to work, where you have people at work depending on you, maybe even patients depending on you, just to check a computer again on evidence of cheating. If the man is cheating, just confront him. If he doesn't want to cut it off, doesn't want to change, you leave. Break up goes on, or but to keep going back to computer again, this is a suspicion of what was going on, but that also sounds a bit off. Okay, now let's read further. Okay. Shortly after disappearance, the house of the colleague who was going to pick her up was searched, as was his phone. He was also interrogated. Later, his car was also searched too. The latter he had to ask the police himself, as he was planning to sell it and didn't want to be accused of hiding possible evidence. Again, I mean, if you want to search a man because you suspect him something, search all his property then. But anyway, the search yielded nothing. Although the police showed interest in him, he was never named as suspect in the case. Okay. On 12 December 2011, on 1 year after disappearance, Elke's boyfriend was arrested after he failed a lie detector test that he took voluntarily. He answered no to the questions. Do you know anything about the disappearance of Elke? And do you have anything to do with their disappearance? The test indicated that his answer to both questions was a lie. His house was also searched. He was released 2 weeks later because of lack of evidence. Yeah, he spent some time in jail, y'all. Around December 2015, a family member of someone who used to live in the same apartment building as Elke contacted the Belgian police. The person informed the police that their family member had moved to Swedish Lapland shortly after the disappearance of Elke, and had there 2 years later brutally murdered an elderly person. Elke and this person also knew each other, as they in the past had been members of the same environmental organization. A team of 7 Belgian investigators traveled to Lapland. The person, who suffers from a mental illness, testified that he was not behind the disappearance of Elke. His mother too said that she had no knowledge of any involvement of her son. She also claimed her son had an alibi for the day of the disappearance. Since December 2016, and over the course of 2017, Dutch private detective Ben Zuidema, who was hired by the family to investigate the case, started to reveal details about his findings. The detective believes that a plumber who lived in the same apartment block as Elke was involved in the disappearance. Days after disappearance, he bought a refrigerated meat truck. 8 days after disappearance, he drove with the truck to Meaux, France. In the period before this, he had been working on a castle in the area, but the work had been halted for a few months because of winter. His truck got stuck in the woods near the castle. According to the private detective, friends of the person from the same area who were at the time also working on the ground of the French castle had contacted him about the strange behavior of the person around the time of the disappearance. The Belgian police has interrogated him and offered him to take a lie detector test, which he refused. The police also searched 4 of his cars, but a 5th vehicle the person owned, the refrigerated meat truck, was allegedly never searched. The examining magistrate on the case spoke with Zuidema about his information. The person was, however, never named a suspect in the case. Okay. This was 2017, 7 years later. Okay, so it's a lot of time went by. So DNA traces may have become less. I mean, If there was blood traces over there, cadaver dogs can smell it even years later, so that's something else. But if if a private investigator says that there is this meat truck that someone purchased and the individual acts suspicious, how come you investigate every vehicle of the man except the meat truck that's the most outstanding? Okay. And I saw another news article in which was said that because of conflict of interest, they could not get the plumber. It's not a news outlet, it was a Dutch one, of course. I thought to myself, conflict of interest? What conflict of interest? But anyway, let's go further. Over here. On the 7th of December 2017, just over 7 years after the disappearance, Private Detective Zuiderman received a handwritten note in his mailbox saying: Nog goesting om te leven? Stop dan met het onderzoek naar Elke WEVERS. Translation is: once they are alive, then stop the investigation into Elke WEVERS. The letter was written in Dutch using a word that's only being used in the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. The piece of paper was handed over to the Dutch police, which was to investigate it further. Okay. Listen over here, guys. A woman in her early 30s went missing. She had a strong bond with her family, and she also had, I don't know how her relationships at work were precisely, but she had good contacts at work because she had a colleague willing to transfer her to work. I mean, if she didn't get along at work, that would likely not happen. She lived together with her partner. She was thinking her partner was cheating. She thought she was being fouled, all of that. She was a bit unwell in the past days before. She's gone. The investigation was weak. They looked into one of the canals, didn't find her. This woman had a social network of people that lived in the border town, and she even knew people in the Netherlands. So she was not a loner that nobody knew of. Okay? And I know it was 2010. It's not like everywhere people are on their phones like this today. But smartphones were being used at the time. What I'm saying is that this is not just some unknown individual who's isolated themselves. This was someone engaged in the community. They were engaged both on the Belgian side of the border and the Dutch side of the border. She knows people. 7 years after she gone missing. 7 years. That's quite a time. A Dutch investigator says, I'm going to look into it. He gets a lot of information. And eventually, he gets a message. You want to stay alive? Then stop the investigation. That's a threat against his life. And I listened to the podcast. And when I listened to the podcast about this case, the mother at some point said, by the way, the mother passed away by now. The mother said at some point during the podcast that one time she was in a supermarket. Anyway, she was one time in public, and when someone asked her, "Are you the mother of the woman that's missing?" Yeah, I know where she is. She's in some freezer somewhere. Well, the mother didn't respond to it. She was traumatized. She didn't want to go off at the individual. But the thing is, what type of stupid shit is that to say? If it's meant to be funny, it's not funny. Okay? In a freezer? That individual, whoever it was, should have been tracked down and arrested and interrogated to the full. Maybe it happened, I don't know, because not all the information is open to the public. So, someone like this, she was not famous. She was not she was not a YouTuber with a lot of subscribers. She was not an artist touring around. She was a local with social ties both in Belgium and the Netherlands, both sides of the border. She had a job at the hospital, which you had to be socially involved also over there. So she was not unknown. The only way such an individual can disappear like that for a long period of time is if the public somewhere is in on it. Straight up. Okay? Now, let's read further over here. Today, by the way, it's red posters with all by the way, today, 9 December 2020, the investigators in the case for the first time publicly commented on information provided by Detective Seidema. They claimed that some of the information was proven to be incorrect, while other information was not specific enough to be further investigated. To this day, Elke's boyfriend remains an official suspect in the case. He is also the only named suspect in the missing persons case of Elke WEVERS. We have some sources they used over here. But okay. Let me stop the screen sharing right now. Okay, for those who've been in for at least the last half hour in this live stream, in which I shared a lot of information and analyzed with you. Again, we're not here to point the finger at any potential suspect. We're not here to do that. Okay? They released the boyfriend, by the way. They likely spoke to other people also. We don't know that yet. I'm asking all one thing. How likely is it, you think, that it's someone she knew close to her that's behind this? For a long period, there was a suspicion that she committed suicide or she started new life elsewhere, even though there was no actual proof for that, nor evidence that suggested that. Again, the investigation could have been better, but let's leave it behind now. We're going to change back time. How many of you suspect it's someone close to her that knew her that's behind this? How many of you think that? You know what I consider weird about this case also is that it happened in 2010. That's 15 years ago for now. It's still a long time. It's almost a generation. 20 years a generation. But hold on. There are cases far older than this that have more publicity on social media. Look, what I'm saying is there are people who spoke about this case before. Different true crime channels that spoke about it also. There are even different sidekicks that look at the case, all of that. But the thing is, why is the social media exposure about this case so low? If she voluntarily disappeared and started new life elsewhere, and people know about it, they should come forward and say, listen, guys, don't look for her anymore. Just start a new life. She want to be out of here. She took her own life. Okay, well, where's the body then? You don't travel kilometers away to end yourself if you want to do that. Why you have you can see the force around there. They use cadaver dogs to look for her. The dogs didn't pick up any scent. They checked the kennel, didn't find anything. So what I'm saying is, why is the exposure of this case so low? And why since 2021, or best 2023, that's 2 years ago, there's not much being said about the case? Look, the mother of the woman passed away. The father is left behind. The father is of age too. Listen, I understand the parents were out there. The mother was out there when she was alive. The dad's out there also right now showing their face. The father showing his face. I want this to be solved. We know what happened to my daughter. If this woman had a strong bond with her family, and she also had a good social circle, where are all these people? Why are they silent? I'm not saying all of them should come to YouTube and make videos like this talking about the case. Okay? But listen, if one of your relatives go missing and you have a close bond with them, that's gonna hurt when they're disappearing. You know what happened. That's the kind of stress you have to live with. Wouldn't you use all you can, in this case social media, to push out there, guys, please look for her? Why was it mainly the parents? Listen, I showed you before, there was a march out at some point. where the people marching in the streets about this case. So there was a public interest in it. But some of these people, maybe strangers, were just as sympathetic towards the situation, said, you know what, let's join the march. There may be friends, family over there, I don't know. But the thing is, why are all these other people who knew her so silent? This silence is disturbing, guys. What about her former colleagues? What about the hospital she worked at? What about the shops she used to attend over there? I mean, she lived in that place, right? So she may have gone to shops, supermarkets, where people that knew her back then. Where are all these people? And this Dutch investigator that got threatened. Listen, if you're investigating something and you're being threatened, that either means that you are, no, no, actually, it can mean two things. Or you already figured out what happened, or and whoever is guilty doesn't want it to come out, or it could be that the case you're investigating will reveal some scandal or some failure of the population, and locals don't want it to come out. There may be some scandal that would be unearthed while resolving this case. And because a lot of locals don't who have an interest in keeping a good reputation of the place, don't want the scandal to come out, they may be the ones threatening you. A while back, I looked at the case of Claudia Lawrence, this British woman that went missing, and to this day she's not found. And there were people threatened in that case also to leave the case alone. Well, in the case of Claudia Lawrence, it was clear that she had a lifestyle that was kind of frowned upon. I won't go deep into it right now. You can watch the live stream yourself, do your search online. So, so you can see there's a motive there that there may have been people that want her gone. I mean, if you as a woman, in the case of Claudia Lawrence, if you had relationships with married men, well, yeah, there are going to be people upset with you and some people that want you out. So in that case, there is a possible suspicion of why she was gone. But in this case, there's nothing that seems out of the ordinary that gives one a motive to want her gone. Now look, I'm not here to fully solve the case. If I could, I would have done it. But one thing I can see clearly here is that this is a inside job. If I'm wrong, and you can prove I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I don't mind. Me call it out if I'm wrong. As far as I can see it right now, from a spiritual point of view, anthropological point of view, if I look at it from a psychological point of view, from any way I look at this was an inside job. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong, that's fine. So that means that people, actually, there were people around the world that followed this woman. Listen, if the community likes you, or better even loves you, and the community is fully into you, no perpetrator would even dare to come close to you because they have to fight the whole community. They have to bypass the whole community that's with you. But if you have enough people in the community who don't like you, have issues against you, now anyone who wants to take opportunity to offload their violence may use those people as an excuse or as empowerment to do something towards you. For example, let's say you work at a mall, or better said, you work at the bank. Let's say now most of your colleagues at the bank are cool with you, but you have like 4 or 5 colleagues who really can't stand you, and even like a little group of people that can't stand you. If ever someone wants an excuse to attack you, they would go to those 5 people who can't stand you and form a block with them to do it. Now, everyone in the world at some point is disliked by someone. Unfortunately, that's just the world. But if you have a demonic establishment against you, so if you have a collective of people, whether a collective of just 4 or 5 people, or it's a multitude, if you have a collective of people will make you the focus on the rest. So you have a group of people who are negatively invested against you. That means you're in danger, because those type of people will either trigger through the psychic violence, bad things happen to you at a distance, or they will murmur, complain about you so much to inspire someone else to do something against you. Or in the worst case scenarios, they themselves will take some cash and pay someone to do the dirty job. So we conclude from here is that she wasn't beloved by everyone. There were people who had issues with her, wherever these people were. Now, of course, now those people are not going to come out openly and say, "Well, I couldn't stand her, I didn't like her, whatever," because if they would do that, they would be a suspect immediately, and the reputation would be gone. So, of course, going to say, "Oh, it's so bad." They will talk good about her just to hide themselves. But there were people invested against her, and it was something that was known. That means somewhere there were people who were aware of the contention against her who kept their mouth shut. And by them keeping their mouth shut and not warning her or not doing anything about it, they let the violence unfold against her. And this often happens in the world. That when people pick up danger towards you or contention towards you, they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to be bothered. They want not to do with it and just leave you with the danger. And later, if you're found dead or you go missing, now they are the first ones to join the search, or they're the first one to, if you're found dead, they're the first one to join your funeral to cry crocodile tears. But while you were alive and danger was accumulating against you, they were the ones who could have stepped in and countered it. They didn't do it. Such cowards you have them everywhere in the world. A lot of people in the world are cowards like this. What I can see in this case is that you had cowards around her locally, even some across the board in the Netherlands, who picked up contention against her, but they wanted to stay out of it, mind own business, and they just let it all unfold. And when she actually disappeared, they realized, oh crap, it really happened. So those people now don't want to be talked to, they don't want to be quote unquote bothered, they want to stay anonymous, they wanted to stay out because if it comes out that they were the ones that allowed bad things to happen to her, it's over for them. That's what I'm telling you. If this woman was a loner with no friends, no contact with family, just even without even a partner, just going to her job, coming back home, no contact with the colleagues, I would say, well, obviously silence over here because not many people were even aware of her. But even then, there should be people speaking. People from the hospital, the place she went to, supermarkets, all of that. But the thing is, this was a woman that was known. She was not super famous, absolutely not, but she was known around there. She had even a context in the Netherlands. How the hell is it so silent around her? Again, I'm not going to speculate from theories over here. I'm just saying, if they want to solve this case, talk to the people that were around her. People should contact with through the phone or through the internet effort, talk to these people, her former colleagues, all of that. And I can I can't say for sure, but I have a strong feeling that at some point there's going to be someone that will say, police officer, let's don't mention my name, but there were people that were so upset with her. There was this happening. And once all this contention is revealed, you're going to discover more bad stuff about the neighborhood. And that's where it comes down to. There's something about about the area over there, about that town or that municipality, whatever. There are some scandals that people don't want to come out. Now, I'm not sure if she was involved in a scandal or maybe she knew too much or saw too much. I don't know what it was, but there's some type of embarrassing thing going on down there that they don't want to have discussed, and somehow the disappearance of this woman is linked to that embarrassing thing they want to keep hidden. So find out what the scandal or embarrassing thing is that they want to hide, and you're close to solving this case, y'all. That's what I'm saying over here. But hey, be prepared to face retaliation from the public. I don't think that Dutch investigator was the only one who got threatened, Joe. I think more people got threatened and they just don't talk about it. Listen, when the community has something to hide, they will always fake like they're helping with investigation, or they will do that to sabotage investigation. Because just like one of the lawyers said, that some of the tips they got from people were just fantasizing. So some people gave wrong information or nonsense information to the authorities, or even to I believe also the lawyer, just to derail the case. That means a lot of people don't want the case to be solved. Question is, why do they want it to be solved? What will be unearthed and exposed that's so embarrassing that they don't want it to be solved? Look, this is why I keep telling you all, don't be too private in your life. I'm not telling you to put all your information on social media. No. I'm not telling you to put a tracker on so everyone can see where you are. No. Some things you have to conceal for safety reasons, and also some things you have to conceal because not everyone is to be trusted with your information. We know that. But the thing is, you can't live life, especially in this day and age with digital technology. You can't just live life like you're in the 1600s or in the early 1800s. Learn to use the internet, social media, and all that in a constructive, practical way, so that if one day there's an issue with you, people can find you or have leads how they can reach out to you, or look into your situation. This whole thing, it's not their business, my life, everything to myself. Listen, I'm not saying that that's how this woman lived. But the thing is, if a little bit more was out there about this woman, it could have been more useful for outsiders wanting to help with the investigation. But if things are so sealed off, what can other people do? What can other people do? By the way, about this case, what do you guys think would have happened in this case? Again, we don't have the conclusive answer, but for all of you in the live chat right now, what do you think happened in this case? Let me know in the live chat. I'll close my mic for 1.5 minutes. Tell me what you think happened in this case. I'm curious what you guys think happened. Afterwards, I'll tell you what I think might have happened. Oh, and by the way, it's speculative, but just based on the whole context of the situation, I'll tell you what I think happened. But first, what do you think happened? Again, a newspaper article was written over here. Father of missing Elke WEVERS. Ex-police officers have told us that they are not allowed to catch the plumber because of a conflict of interest. Elke was murdered. They don't want to solve it. Shame on the judiciary. The process sign still hangs against the parental home of Elke WEVERS, the 30-year-old woman from Maaseick who disappeared on December 9, 2010 and was never found. The VRT brought a gripping documentary series about this cold case this week, but Father René WEVERS was left hungry. Okay, I can't read any further. Now, again, the mother passed away already. The father is still there. But this for them together and still alive. Want to have answers for what happened to the daughter. Conflict of interest. What conflict of interest, y'all? Why can't? Okay, if 4 police officers tell you that the police is not allowed to go after the plumber because of conflict of interest, what conflict of interest can it be? Is the case political? If it's a political case, that's even worse. If it's a political case, then it's a matter of national security then. what's going on? Anyway, let me go back over here. Okay, let's see what Maria says. Maria says she was silenced about something she knew, someone close to her, important on the community. Okay, what else the rest think that happened here in this case? I think a similar thing that Maria thought, but first, what else the rest think that happened over here? God is good. Hmm. Now let me tell you what I think happened over here. A woman in her 30s, living with her partner, works at the hospital. Yeah, did a bit social engagement work at the hospital. She had a social network on the Belgian side of the border, at the Dutch side of the border. She was not a loner. She suspected her boyfriend may have been cheating on her, was checking on his computer. She left work one time and walked home out of the blue. What I think happened, and it's just a theory, a loose theory, is that this woman figured out some scandal, some criminality that goes on over there, where it was trafficking that was going on, or trafficking of women or children, or whatever, whether it was organ harvesting, or it could have been simply that something simple as a lot of married men around there were hitting on her, wanted to sleep with her, whatever, or it could be that um, maybe associates of the boyfriend were involved in some scandal thing, whatever. There's some scandal locally she figured out about, and she was so disgusted, and she said, I don't want to be part of this, and she ran her mouth. And it could be that when she ran her mouth about it, some people got offended by her, thinking what the hell she thinks she is, and all that, and these people got offended at her because she kept going to work and just kept moving on. The people got offended at her, their dislike backfired on them, and they now became paranoid, wanted to have her gone, and that's how they now, together with some associates of theirs, plotted, and they took her out and dumped her body somewhere. But the thing is, whatever scandal it was she was aware of that she didn't want to get along with, is something deep rooted. And that's why a lot of locals secretly may not want it to be solved. Not all locals, but some may not want it to be solved because it would affect the reputation of their there. And maybe even on a political level, this political pressure not to have this case solved, because if there's an actual scandal over there that may come out, it may, and it brings down the reputation of the municipality. It may lead to financial loss, because if a place has a bad reputation, a lot of business owners will leave because a lot of people don't want to be associated with something that's a bad name. So it may lead to a financial crash, an economic crash, which may increase criminality over there. More people can't pay rent, all that. So it may be one to prevent a crash of the local of local community over there, and that's why there's political pressure to delay the case as much as possible. That is what I'm thinking is going on over here. I can't be wrong. Maybe this woman's still alive, just started a new life somewhere. Maybe she actually took her life and we just didn't find the body yet. What if I'm not wrong and it's actually a local cover up? Listen to me, all of you. Don't make your life too private. Yes, you have to conceal certain things about yourself, that's true, but don't let your life be way too private. Make sure strangers from all the other side of the world are always able to find out some stuff about you. At least make sure there's at least a lead that strange can pick up towards you. Oh, another thing, have your sermon. Make sure the people involved in the community are people that were worth it to be involved with. Because if you're involved in the community, but people involved with are a bunch of cowards, most of them, well, guess what? You're in bad company. So check what it is you're dealing with. Remember, I explained before on this channel that as spirit beings, because human beings are a spirit species with physical bodies, as spirit beings, we always pick up echoes of tragedy, misfortune, even before it happens. Tragedy and misfortune only plays out in the physical, often plays out in the spirit world. So you always have echoes by the Earth's atmosphere that something bad's about to happen. This woman, if she actually was killed and all that, she ignored warning symptoms. Now, I'm not blaming the victim over here. If she was taken out, it should have never happened. The people that did it have to be arrested and face charges. However, she was a grown woman, and at some point, she would have picked up this situation is getting toxic. I need to get out of here. She may not have acted quick enough on the warning symptoms, and guess what? And apart from that, there are people around her who picked up warning symptoms concerning her, was ignored it, and let things happen to her. So there was neglect on multiple sides. They also have the authorities were a bit slow in solving this case. Again, I pray and hope that this case is solved, the answers come, there's a resolution over here. We can't change the past and undo what happened, but what we can do is learn from this tragedy so that similar things don't continue to happen. Because some things like this keep happening because we don't learn from this past tragedies. Let's learn from this one and be better today. Let's rectify the past in that way, okay? By learn from it, processing and being better today. Amen. Okay. Are there any questions about this topic? Just let me know in the live chat, please. Just let me know. Are there any questions about this topic? Just one more thing. Never underestimate how far people in the world will go to feel comfortable. I said one more time, never underestimate how far worldlings will go to remain comfortable, y'all. Some will go so far to even put you in danger just so they can have their relief. Some will throw you under the bus. They like they never knew you, like they don't know who you are. They will deny you openly just to make sure they are at ease and not about it. I'm telling you, not everyone in the world, there are decent human beings in the world, but a lot of worldlings, they have no bounds how far they will go just to feel comfortable, y'all. Just remember that. Okay. I didn't get any questions. Thanks for being here. Please hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel. You want to book a one-on-one session with me, a one-on-one consultation, check the fees and the instructions in the description box below. Again, please donate the links below too. It's needed and appreciated right now. Thank you very much. And PayPal is better. Maria, I get it immediately to PayPal. If you do it to Super Chat, I'll have to wait till the 21st or 22nd of the month, the next month to receive it. So PayPal is better. Thank you. Anyway, thanks for being here. Keep on agreeing with Christ. Stay alert. And I'll see you next live stream. Shalom. The stream ended.